Right, okay. Ganduje, your successor, claims that you didn't pay most of your contractors while you were in office. Now, on the flip of that, you claimed that you paid all contractors. So what have you got to say about his claims?
Now, you see, government is continuous. It's not something that any government anywhere in the world will say that I have paid everybody today, because the movement is always there. As we are sitting here, if we are in government house, this electricity has to be paid, and it cannot be paid today. It will certainly be paid in the future. And the movement of payments, right from the award of contracts to some payments and so on and so forth, they keep on moving. And at any given time, you go to any ministry, you go to Ministry of Finance, you find people submitting certificates and so on and so forth. But what is important to me is that for the 8 years I was governor of Kano State, I did not borrow 1 naira from any bank in this country or any bank out of this country or even individual. We have never done that in Kano for 8 years I was governor. But if there was somebody who submitted his certificates to Ministry of Finance on the day I was leaving, that is what we call, yes, so it's not, that's liability. Yeah. So the liability is there. There is no government that will say that will stop any process. The process is moving. So I think that is the issue. And even that, people decided to inflate the figure to say this is what was left in they are talking of 400, 300, 200 billion. While I know from our records we left about 20 billion naira liability for government, next coming government to pay. When I was there, we had, when I was sworn in 2011, the liability and the debt was over 77 billion naira. So in government, you inherit that, you pay, and as you are moving, another governor will come, of course, will start from where you stop. We did all what we could to ensure that all wastages were blocked by way of looking at areas where government was wasting money to ensure that what we had was adequate enough to do our programs and projects. I remember that with the issue of security votes, we decided to stop it. There was nothing like that in our government for the 8 years I was in government. We worked so hard to reduce wastages in government. When I was sworn in 2015, I remember very well that the capital was about 30% and the current 70%. Before I left, I was able to reverse it to 75% capital and 25 recurrent, because we looked around and see where government was wasting money, ranging from money sent to the MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies in terms of overhead, and monies that were being spent unnecessarily in government. All those really helped us to have money, enough money to do our programs and projects successfully in Kano without resorting to borrowing money, which was, in our opinion, best for our people, especially in the future.
Right, talking about security, the security of Nigeria as a whole right now, I would say, is nothing to write home about. You have the Boko Haram issue in the northern part of Nigeria and some other part of Nigeria. And then you also have the herdsmen issue as well. If you become the next Nigerian president, what are your plans on security?
You see, most of these problems are rearing their heads because of the issue of capacity of leadership. Many people see security from the point of view of the military and paramilitary, guns, bombs, all sorts of things. Good leadership will look at security from all angles. For example, if you neglect food security in your country, then it affects the national security. If you ignore, for example, health security or even employment security and so on and so forth, they affect the general security of the country. And that is why good government will connect with people. And that is one of the problems that we see in this country today. The government, unfortunately, is just right there at the top. All of us are downstairs. We are not sure of what they are doing, and certainly they don't know what is happening on the ground. And even the military, even the police and other security agents require a lot of intelligence for them to act. Now, if you are not connected with people, you cannot get the information you require from them. The other security agencies are so few, and even when they are few, if the government is not connected, certainly people will do everything possible to deny them the information they require, either because of fear or because they don't believe in them, and so on and so forth.
How do you intend to connect with the people, though? Because at the end of the day, there is a wide gap in class in Nigeria in terms of class. There is no middle class. It's either the rich and the poor. Yeah. There is no middle class. So how do you really intend to connect with the people?
If you look at from the perspective of our movement, we are connected with everybody, even those in the motor parks, in the markets, on the streets, and so on. We are very well connected. And KwanKwaso is not all about people with red caps or any of our souvenirs. No, we have more people without our colors in KwanKwaso than those that are wearing our colors today. So we are already connected. We are talking to them. It's not like they are taking it from the blues. We are connected with the people. And you see, the main issue, the first failure of government is to fail in terms of politics. If you don't get the politics right, the implication is what we are seeing today. And leaders must get their politics right. If you don't get it right, the economy will go wrong, the security will go wrong, and all other things will fail. And I think once you have leadership that connects with the people, that communicate with them, a lot of things, a lot of information will come in, a lot of suspicion and rumor will evaporate, and therefore you have good government, as we saw in Kano for the 8 years that I was government, in terms of projects, in terms of programs, because you are moving with the people are supporting you, and people are advising. The information is from the bottom up and vice versa. So if you are communicating well, most of these things will be a thing of the past. And of course, you have to take care of the military itself, with the police, with the SSS, and other security agents in terms of their welfare, in terms of their training, and make sure that they are happy themselves. Make sure that their morale is boosted. Make sure that their families are happy. And once that is done, as we have seen in all civilized societies, you have no problem with the security. Yes, it is difficult to fight them because it's not the usual or conventional war that we see elsewhere. And you use people's experiences, because we had a similar thing across the world, and there's a lot to learn from other people. If people are happy, people are happy. But if people are angry, it is very easy for them to take arms against themselves, as we are seeing now. It's very easy for people to take arms against innocent people in terms of kidnapping on the roads, kidnapping in towns and villages that we see today, even in the cities.
But do you think you can really blame that on the connection with the people? Is that not due to perhaps poverty, unemployment?
They're all connected. The poverty itself, the unemployment, the hunger, the lack of communication between the leadership in the country with the people. I am not sure if really government knows what is happening downstairs. And even when people say it, they are being termed either as opponents or enemies. And the government should listen to all of them. If you are in government, listen even to your enemy. because your friends may come and only praise you. Others, in the name of criticism or in attempt to send the message to you, will tell you the last item of the facts that you require to take necessary action. So that's the issue of connecting with people. We have not seen it in the last 3 years or so.
Right. Do you, now that you're back in the PDP, do you think you can win the next election for the party?
Well, you see, for many obvious reasons, I believe that PDP should support my candidature. One, I come from Kano. Kano is the most populous state in this country, going by our last census. And the amount of support that I have as a person in Kano State, in Northwest, in Northern Nigeria, and Nigeria as a whole. You see, in politics, the issue of ticket is very easy. If we like, we can give you a ticket as Nigerian. The next thing is, okay, you are going to go into the field to contest the election with government, even though everybody knows this government has serious issues with the people, even the masses themselves. They are the worst hit because they can't eat now. They can't go to the hospital. They cannot send their children to school, and so on and so forth. In fact, many communities now are even afraid if they are going to bed, whether somebody will come and take them away or burn them with their houses. So all these things are there. And even the issue of a relationship between Muslims and Christians, we have never seen such a wide gap in the history of this country like we have today, which is absolutely unnecessary. Perhaps it's based on the failure of the government. So,
so would you say at the moment, would you say you haven't got the support of the party 100% to actually run?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You look at where I come from, because politics is a game of number, and we have numbers, and we have the support. I believe probably I'm the only candidate or aspirant now that can give a lot of addition to the party. After primaries, other aspirants will rely on the party to bring people to vote for them. Now that I have gone around the entire country, each state I go, I hand over hundreds of thousands of our supporters to the party, the PDP, by way of adding value to the party in those states. And even after winning the election, you need somebody with capacity. It is very critical, it is very important to have somebody who can run the government, do it efficiently, in such a way that all these challenges that we see, which in my opinion are absolutely unnecessary. In fact, even those of us who are in APC, if there was good party on the ground, if there was good governance and everybody is carried along, we have no reason to leave the party. In fact, if I have an opportunity now, I will ask the chairman of our party, which is Kondus, to honor Muhammadu Buhari, because it was only Buhari who could make PDP this popular at the moment, because he did everything possible to remove people, to sack people, together with some governors, to make sure that all those really who added value, who were asset, people who had enough resources to support the party in their localities, people who had the capacity to make, in terms of having followership and so on, most of them were being sacked from APC. And all those people with experiences, people who have fought the battles many times, people who have provided them with a cutting edge to win the election in 2015 are now out of the party. And worst, now we have seen that the government and the party are working together to field one candidate. And that's very dangerous, because we have seen it. We have a situation in this country, if you go back into memory lane, this same Buhari in 2003, he didn't go for primary, just given ticket. 2007, 2011, free ticket, no competitor, and he was failing. It was only when we forced him to go into primaries in 2015, because we knew it was important, that he won the election. And look at PDP. PDP 99, we had a very competitive primary election in Jos in 1999, 2003 here in Abuja, 2007 in Abuja, 2011 The only time they decided not to do primary to print one form was 2015. And that was the time they lost the election. And you can see statistically that there is correlation between good primary election and winning the general election. Now, going by that, one can comfortably say that APC has lost the election in 2000, even before the election in 2019.
Right. So, if at the end of the primaries, which is sometime next week,
Yes,
right?
yes.
If at the end of that primaries, you're not chosen as the candidate for the party, would you leave PDP?
See, I believe that this party, the PDP, has learned its lesson. It will do everything possible to avoid making mistake. No accident, no mistake. Because everybody has seen the consequences of making mistakes. Mistakes were being done in 2015. And I was able to talk to most of the leaders. And they were all on the same page that in 2019 election, they will do the right thing. And one of the fundamental things that they will do is to do free, fair, and credible election. Not only that, they have to make sure that the right person got the ticket. Because you may go and do free, fair, credible election and give the ticket to the wrong man. And once that is done, the APC will start celebrating. Maybe from here you will hear their noise celebrating that they have got an easy way of coming back in 2019, which will be very dangerous to the country and even to themselves. Because now things are reaching its peak. Yeah. And once that is done, you cannot go any further, you have to come down.
So would you leave?
So, you see, the issue is, you see, we have done it in 2015 in Lagos. Even with the flaws, the mistakes of the primary election, because we wanted change at that time. We didn't tell anybody the weaknesses of 2015 primaries in Lagos. But most people, especially insiders, knew all what happened in Lagos. But all of us came smiling, laughing, and supporting the announced winner of that primary. We have done it in the past. There is no problem to do it again. But I can tell you, PDP has now learned its lesson. In fact, to me, there is a swap between PDP and APC. What we have today in PDP was APC in 2015 and vice versa.